is the most heartbreaking thing you'll see all week. It's official. Papoose and Claressa just confirmed that they're dating. Remy Ma, she's not yelling or slandering this time. Instead, she's crying live in front of tens of thousands of fans. Isn't a rumor or gossip. It's real. The next slide shows a video of her and Papoose together, smiling and relaxed, as if they hadn't just turned Reese's world upside down. What happened? How did we go from black love goals to public heartbreak and a woman watching her relationship fall apart in front of the world? Did Papoose change? I never wanted to hurt her, but I'm not hiding what's real anymore. One thing is certain, this isn't just a scandal. It's a full-on breakdown that is unfolding live, minute by minute. Prepare yourself, because what we're about to reveal will make you reevaluate everything you believed you knew about love, loyalty, and legacy. Was he never really committed? Is Claressa truly in love, or is there something else at play? We're talking about holding it down through thick and thin love that matches, and it's the end of an era. Black Love magazine features interviews where they finished each other's sentences. They were the blueprint, but now that blueprint is on fire because of the anniversary post and public kudos. An entirely different story was unfolding, and her name was Claressa Shields. Let's face it, Claressa has been involved in this situation since last year's birthday incident. You recall how Remy skipped the party. And when Claressa shared that thank you photo of Pat Cake, things started to look bleak. Innocent, but let's go back a bit. Things started to get strange late last year. According to sources, Papoose started spending more time away from home, claiming to be working on a business project in Detroit, which also happens to be Claressa's hometown. At first, Remy remained composed and even defended. On Instagram Live, Papoose said, "You all are always trying to break up black love. My man isn't going anywhere." However, behind the scenes, things were unraveling. The calls became shorter, the distance increased, and then the DNS arrived. As you are already aware, the internet detectives went to work, and what they discovered caught the attention of Woo fans. Claressa was wearing Papoose's merchandise when Papoose subtly liked and then unliked her gym selfies. Hours later, they even shared nearly identical photos at the same steakhouse minutes apart. But Remy said nothing until the video, the blurry but obviously Papoose and Claressa walking, leaked. At 2:36 a.m., they gathered in a private suite at the Whitney in downtown Detroit. And they weren't exactly prepared for a press conference. The video went viral right away, and websites shared it. Twitter then exploded, and TikTokers began playing it out as if it were a Netflix series that everyone was curious about. Was it truly them? And if so, why hadn't Papoose denied it? He didn't make a statement, offer an explanation, or even post a straightforward, "This isn't what it looks like." Instead, he shared a mysterious Instagram story. Truth sometimes brings peace, and then came the bombshell. Claressa went live with a glam wine glass in hand, and she didn't hold back. "I know. Some people are upset, but I won't apologize for who I care about, Pap and me, because it's no secret anymore. We're grown and moving forward." The internet went crazy, with over 70,000 people watching the live stream. Instagram was unable to keep up with the fast-paced comments, and Remy remained silent for a brief period of time before going live from her room without makeup 2 hours later. She stared into the camera for 15 seconds with her hoodie on, her eyes clearly swollen, her voice shaking, and then she said, "I gave that man 15 years, a family, my loyalty. I stood by him through it all, and this is how it ends." She then broke down in tears, struggling to breathe and covering her face so that you could feel every bit of heartbreak. She kept going. "You all turned this into memes and jokes, but I'm watching someone I trusted start a new chapter with a person who sat at my table. That's not love. That's disrespect." And just like that, #ProtectFromMe started trending. Celebrities began weighing in. Taraji P. Henson commented, "You deserve better, sis." While Papu remained silent, the internet showered Remy with support. Claressa, on the other hand, shared a new selfie of herself wearing her hoodie with a caption, "Sometimes the heart knows what the timeline can't handle at this point." The internet split into Remy, Claressa, and the team asking where Papoose was and why he wasn't speaking. Since Papoose hasn't spoken, he must be concealing something. But what people didn't realize would make that hotel video appear to be a warm-up, because Ray's team had actual receipts, and once they were dropped, the whole timeline melted. Let's examine the voicemails left by the Lees, the dubious business transactions, and how one old phone might have revealed everything, because just when you thought the hotel scandal and Ray's emotional collapse were enough to rock the internet, they were only the appetizer. The following morning, Ray's team went all out, releasing what they called the Truth Files, a folder of evidence that was so dramatic and detailed that it made other celebrities take notice. First, it appears that Remy still had access to one of Papoose's old Boo voice accounts, which he used for artist bookings. However, it turns out that line was also being used for something far more personal. 2 weeks prior to the hotel leak, Papoose's voice was heard in a message that read, "You're the only piece I need you, Ressa. I'm sick of acting like I'm at home." Another, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it. She just needs time to get used to it. I'm not staying forever." However, the folder contained more than just emotional betrayal. It also contained financial statistics that showed several. The money from the Black Love Legacy Fund, which Papoose established with Remy, goes directly to an LLC called Rest of It, which is owned by Claressa Shields, as you are already aware. Each transaction was titled something like Training Support Equipment Upgrade, and the one that left everyone speechless was the Care Package, which was funded by. Social media went crazy, with one user tweeting, "Papoose used a loyalty fund to fund his side hustle in his side situation. The math is criminal." Another user wrote, "He really went from Black Love King to suspicious account activity in under 48 hours." For hours. And while the internet dragged Papoose into oblivion, guess who went live again? Yep, Claressa. This time she was solo, sitting in what looked like the same hotel suite, sipping a protein shake from a wine glass like it was a casual Tuesday. She looked straight into the camera and said, "I'm not here to bash." If you've ever felt like the second choice, you'll understand that the chat was on fire. Some people praised her confidence, but others weren't as forgiving. You weren't just claiming peace, you were claiming someone else's partner. "I'm not trying to apologize for loving someone who made me feel seen, though." And throughout it all, Papoose remained silent. Not a single word, post or like. But wait, it gets even more dramatic. Ray's cousin, who obviously couldn't stand it any longer, came forward with screenshots from a private group chat called Pap and Res's Vegas Escape, which contained flight and hotel reservations, as well as saved memes of Remy sobbing live, with captions like "We dodged a bullet." At that point, even Papoose's longtime friend Fat Joe unfollowed him on Instagram, and reports began to circulate that Remy had entered emergency therapy, not only because of the emotional toll, but also because insiders said she had a severe panic attack after seeing a TikTok remix of her crying live that went viral. Yes, people were transforming her raw emotional footage into meme content and low-fidelity music edits. One clip even turned her saying, "I gave that man 15 years," into a danceable audio track. The internet responded, "No shame, no grace." However, let's take a moment to consider that, although all of this may be amusing to viewers, for Remy, it represents the breakdown of everything she has worked so hard to build. Her marriage, her brand, her ride-or-die image, all of which is coming apart in public, not behind closed doors. The backlash wasn't just sentimental, it was a professional collaboration. While Claressa's public image was soaring and her followers doubled in a week, brands began contacting her, and she posted a teaser for a YouTube video. She had secretly dropped her podcast network and announced a temporary pause and an upcoming bit special featuring her story removed from the press release without explanation. The other side of the story, sis, is actually going to profit from this whole mess, according to the documentary Unapologetic. However, this is where things take a drastic turn because late last night, Papoose finally broke his silence by posting a black and white selfie without a caption and followed it up with a somber video called Letter to Myself. But here's the thing, he never. When he stated, "Love is hard when you outgrow each other's silence. Sometimes the realest thing to do is walk away even if your feet still bleed." Excuse me, what? Fans were not amused. He never mentioned Claressa's name and instead began speaking in metaphors as if he were trying out for a poetry slam. According to the top comment, this man built his entire brand on loyalty before leaving as if it were a press tour. The real shocker, however, was when Rooney unfollowed him 10 minutes later and then shared on her Instagram story. The internet went crazy. The lines were drawn, the drama was real, and now legal experts are taking over. According to several people familiar with the matter, including Claressa's trainer, her cousin's former nail technician, Ray's legal team has reportedly become involved and is investigating all of her options, including suing Papoose and Claressa. The potential claims include defamation, emotional distress, and damages related to. If you thought that was crazy, it gets even more bizarre. It turns out that Papoose's use of the Black Love Legacy Fund to support Claressa's business wasn't just between him and Remy. It was also partially funded by outside investors. Claressa's upcoming docuseries, according to Ray's team, contains private, inaccurate events that were never clear for public release. When those investors discovered that funds intended for mentorship and family programs were being utilized elsewhere, let's just say the IRS phones went up really quick. One unnamed donor told reporters, "We believe we were financing something beneficial, not paying for luxury lounges and exclusive." While Ray is working to rebuild her reputation on live streams, there are rumors of a civil lawsuit and a possible audit. However, Ray is not just in pain. She is already on the mend, having started a new Instagram series called Healing Out Loud, in which she discusses betrayal, setting boundaries, and rebuilding your life. "I might have lost a man, but I didn't lose myself," she stated in her first episode of Identity After Heartbreak, which received over 2 million views in a single day. That crown still fits well, and Claressa is doing what she does best, not being disturbed in public, by locking in a high-end sportswear collaboration. Introducing the slogan, "Built to Win Unapologetically," but the internet isn't entirely buying it because of the previously leaked Vegas group chat. It turns out that there's more though, because someone recently posted a real video of Claressa and Papoose in what appears to be a hotel suite, talking about when to make their public debut. Claressa is heard in the video saying, "We'll tell the world when the time is right. Let her look crazy first, then we move." This is part of their gradual rollout plan for their relationship. The internet was completely turned upside down by just 6 words, and even Claressa's biggest fans now support her, are making disparaging remarks about her. This wasn't love. It was a calculated move, so you truly used someone else's suffering to further your own agenda. Suddenly, Claressa's entire story of self-love and healing began to seem a bit staged, and Papoose hasn't responded to the video or apologized to Remy, just more cryptic black. And the real shocker is that a new name just entered the chat because last night, the gossip blog TED Drop Daily posted an anonymous tip with screenshots claiming that Papoose has also been messaging a third woman, a rising R&B artist, for months. The messages include flirtatious emojis and a late-night voice. He also takes white selfies as if he's trapped in a music video for emotions that he has never explained. The headlines are screaming that Papoose was caught entertaining a third woman while living with Claressa, reminding them to take legal action. Claressa pulls out of the situation. The artist hasn't spoken publicly, but sources claim she has already sought legal advice in case her name is brought up in this drama. Reddit forums are tracking updates hourly. YouTubers are breaking down in 3-hour chunks. And TikTok has turned the story into a full-fledged choose-your-own drama experience. But in the middle of the chaos, one person is quietly winning. Appearance #protect Remy rises again after the third betrayal surfaces. Steadily, and while it's true that she broke down and was caught off guard, what she did next is known as the comeback. She has been booked to the Headline 2 events for women's empowerment, and she will be launching her own healing podcast next month. Rumor has it that she is in negotiations with a major streaming platform for a dilution of her own working title. As for Papoose and Claressa, sources claim they are still together, but are keeping quiet after a leaked video of their soft rollout planning surfaced on blogs. The deal began dropping that luxury athletic collaboration, and Claressa's appearance on a sports talk show put their power couple reality pitch on hold. Rooney unwrites poetic justice at its best. The lesson here is that trust isn't a catchphrase, loyalty isn't a look, and sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who hit you the hardest when you're not looking. Let's just say that if his next mixtape doesn't include an open apology and a personal growth statement, nobody will be looking for it before it even makes it to Netflix. And Papoose gave this man her name, her heart, and 15 years of her life, and he threw it away for protein shakes, private messages, and hotel suite secrets, but she didn't break. Instead, she built, which is why the internet is writing about her in unprecedented ways. That's the story of a hip-hop love story that was supposed to last forever, undone by. Remy Ma gave her all for years, a whole family, and 2 people who smiled in her face and kept secrets behind her back, only to be blindsided by them. One of them has since disappeared from the timeline, while the others are posting workouts as if nothing happened except karma. Arriving, and she has timestamps, so let's hear from you. Was Claressa always playing a long game, and did the Papoose betray them both? Does Remy even owe anyone closure, or should she just stand by and let the headlines tell her what to do? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Did you experience heartbreak with Ray? Because the truth doesn't simmer on her channel, you think her next chapter will be the biggest one yet? Like the video, subscribe for the complete breakdowns, and turn on those notifications. Boils, this is the vibe of gossip spilling. There's always a mic for the drama.